Hi there. Finally we've got some perfect growing weather, perfect temperature. I think we're just around 70 and it's humid, sticky even. So there's my peas coming up. Nothing in the middle yet. I'm kind of late, but it's been so cold at night so I haven't bothered. The peas only decided they've been in for 2 weeks and or 3 weeks, and they only just decided to come through. So the marigolds are all right from the grow room. My beans are up. This is the Triumpho Violetto, and this is the Vortex. They're just starting to come through. Nothing in the middle of that bed yet. There's some peas I sowed about 3 weeks ago, maybe. They're finally taking off. There's my mint. This is scarlet runner beans, mostly for the hummingbirds. They're all just starting to come through. I'll have another bucket of them and the Triumphos down at my grapevine. The buckets have got Yukon Golds in, 4-layer, or rather 2-layer crossways in these buckets. So 2 near the bottom with a layer of soil under them and some fertilizer that I wanted to get rid of, and then 2 with a layer on top, a little higher up, and then as soon as they come up I'll just keep topping the soil up to the top of the bucket if and when they come up. And that's what these 2 buckets here are. They're Yukon Golds. That's my parsnips, ugly parsnips, for the Ugly Parsnip Challenge. This is the beautiful ash. It's absolutely full of blossom this year. Hopefully that means lots of berries for the birds. My potatoes that are up, my Norlands. I probably should try and hill them up, although it's a bit late now probably. But there's 16 Norlands in there, and they all came up, all looking pretty good. My asparagus, getting another cut today, looking good. And my peanuts looking a little ratty. It's been so cold. I planted them about 3 or 4 days ago, 3 days ago, and they just have not liked the weather at all. They've developed some rust, I would say, on the leaves. That one there was the one that was already flowering. It's still flowering, and that's the next step before it starts to drop its seed pods or send its runners out with the seed pods on. None of the others are flowering yet, but it needs to be this weather, 70 degrees or higher, for peanuts. So hopefully they'll pick up. They look a little sad right now. They look better indoors than they did after I planted them. So. But when we've been down to 8 degrees at night, that's last week, that's not conducive to growing anything. I have melons in there. Not melons, cantaloupe. It's an heirloom variety, delicious. So just the seed. I might see if I can get hold of some plants from the local garden centre. Of course now it's going to get windy. I have 2 cucumbers to put in, an English and a Market More. I'm putting them in on the end here. Some of my peppers, these are going out. These are mostly, actually all of these I think are Jimmy Nardellos. No, tell a lie, that's a jalapeno. Yeah. So they're going to get planted out over here next to my squash. And the lilacs are just about finished. They were beautiful. I have some better pictures of them. These buds were just, flowers were just beautiful, and the smell, lovely. Looks like my Weigela is just about ready to come out too. It looks like it's going to be pretty showy, considering it's somewhat out of control. Lots of buds. They just come out. I didn't notice them yesterday. Hostas are buried. That's my rutabaga that I grew from seed, stratified in the freezer. In the freezer. And that was last year, and they just produced huge leaves. And now this year, hopefully, they'll flower. I've got to weed this bed. Of course, the wind is starting to get up. The reason I was doing this was because there was no wind a minute ago. Now it's starting to get windy. And the spruce got nice growth. That was a slip, a gift from a wedding. It was about a 4-inch twig when I planted that. It's doing well. So it's my rhubarb. Finally got some grass for mulch. Couldn't get my free wood chips, so I went with free grass clippings. Looks a little yellow. We had a good rain this morning. I'm hoping that's helping a little. I should have staggered them. Thought about it afterwards. I staggered these because I didn't have as much room. This is the Kura squash, red Kura, and that's the Tahitian, and then the 4 up there are the Waltham butternut. But anyway, this fabric is a pain. It doesn't let water through. The water pools on the top. Eventually it goes through. Like I guess rain probably goes through because the ground underneath was saturated from the recent rains. But anyway, so I'm gonna have to, where I cut it back, I folded it back over to protect from weeds, and I'm gonna cut that out, and I'm gonna give it because the water can't get through when you water. It pools and just runs down the garden here, so I'm gonna have to cut around and rely on the mulch. So, lesson learned. I thought I was doing the right thing by protecting the base of the plant with the fabric, but not the case. You can't get water into them when you need to water. These are looking really good, my French lilacs. They've got lots of opening up to do yet. Not much smell on them yet, but they're never as fragrant as the ordinary lilac. My grapevine looking good. Back to 2 buds. Work in progress on the top. I got some realigning up on the top to do, spreading the branches a bit wider. But down here it's about where I want it, or where it's gonna end up being. I think this is the 5th year for the 2 vines. So I was trimming, getting some light in at the back here. This buckthorn was getting out, and it's a weed tree. It's worse than the hawthorn. Oh, I just got cut out then. So we're back at the buckthorn. I trimmed it out to let some light in, but mostly because I just planted another grape. This is a white Niagara. It's called Niagara. It's a seedless eating grape, white grape. This is mainly because the Concords make lousy eating grapes. In my opinion, they're good for jam, good for wine, but not so good for eating. But anyway, that's a seedless eating grape. That's only 1 year old, that one. So it's very small. We will see what it does. But I was trying to give it some more light. That's the east. So it gets the early morning sun, and then it gets the late afternoon sun, and it'll be somewhat in the shade because of these buckthorns, which are out of hand, as you can see. That was something I was going to show you, and here's the bees, all kinds of bees. Love this. The flowers on this buckthorn. That's, I don't know whether you can see the sort of flower, or I don't know what you call it. I guess it's a sort of a flower. But this, there was one there a minute ago, now it's flown away, of course, not going to cooperate, but this was absolutely alive with sound. I can hear it. I don't know whether the mic will pick it up. It's full of what looks like honeybees. They're flitting around, but there's all kinds of, there's wasps, and it's just loaded. There's probably 1,000 bees. I don't know whether you can hear that. No, it's not going to focus. But there's bees everywhere. The whole... I don't know whether this is going to show up. I can see them. But... I think that's showing up. But there's thousands of bees, so buckthorn's good for something. These bees like it. For there to be this many bees, they're mostly higher up. It's hard to pick them up. They're the little ones, probably the little wild ones. That's some... can't remember the name of that now. You guys will know what it is. Not coming to mind what it is. Anyway, so that's my new edition. I'm making this too long, sorry. But it's a quiet day relatively. This is the first non-windy, impossible day so far for a while. So that's my garden tour and update. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.